Hello and welcome to, I guess, the first proper episode of the Press On
Yeah.
podcast. Last time was an introduction that probably ended up being about an hour long, but that's how we do. I'm Jerri of Dippy Cow Nails, and this is
Chelsea from Nailed It by Chelsea.
woohoo! So, well, presumably you've all listened to the first episode, so you know a little bit more about what we do, who we are. But if you haven't, we are press on nail artists. We're a couple of friends in the nail industry, and we have started this podcast to talk all things nails, all things press-ons, give some business advice, give people a bit of a platform to talk about the things that affect us in our industry, and just a chit chat. So we thought a good topic would be to actually discuss, okay, well, we know where we're at the moment with press-ons, but where did it all come from? And we've gone on I'd say a mini deep dive, because there's not a lot of information out there.
No, there actually isn't. And as we found like little bits of information, but I feel like nobody's really done much research anyway into it.
No.
And I feel like because the invention of it was never about nails, as I could talk about right now, but it came from a dentist.
Yeah.
So obviously all of the materials that nails use are just dental materials. So it was all a bit of an accident why artificial nails ever began.
Yeah.
Which is thank you to that person.
Literally. So that person was someone called Fred Slack.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie boy. In the 50s, so Fred was a dentist, and I don't know, he like broke his nail or something happened to his nail, and he used some of his acrylic essentially to build himself a nail. So when we're talking that, of course, that's more acrylic nails than press-on nails, but that is where this seemed to actually all kick off. So acrylic nails, came before press-ons, but nail enhancements go back like literally to like Egyptian times.
Obviously, like Cleopatra was doing eyeliner. She was
fancy.
She was always glam.
Now, I couldn't personally find an exact answer as to where the first press-on nail was, like, or anything like that.
No,
but
there just wasn't much information around it, like at all.
No, you can find like there are some cool websites with some really old like adverts for nail enhancements and press-ons, which are really fun to look at. Like, I love those ads.
The way that they used to advertise for like the stay-at-home mum, like it was like after you've finished doing the laundry,
and you can pop on some pretty nails for your husband. Seemingly, the industry, I think, kind of just started to grow in the background, and we're talking like big business. We're not talking like little independent retailers. We're talking big, obviously names that would have been within the like the beauty space back then. Yeah, it seemed that I mean, I don't know if you saw the same things that I did, but all the designs were just like solid colors.
Lots like of red, very red vintage tones,
and just long oval, like long round. Only that shape, nothing else.
And it would make sense, wouldn't it? Because obviously that's the era of just kind of like that vintage rock and roll, that kind of style. And obviously like a longer nail, it wanted to be more like feminine and like elongating the figure, because back then it was all about like slim is beautiful, wasn't it? So it was all about like accentuating that kind of hand as well. So it would make sense. But yeah, it was literally just a long oval, mainly red nail.
Yeah, and they looked awful. I'd love to get some. I saw that like they were like on eBay. I'd love to buy some just to see what they're like. Like, what is that material? Is it exactly the same as the cheap ones we get now? Is it?
That is such a good idea. I think maybe we should track some of it down and buy some.
That would be fun.
Really interesting.
Right, well, we'll get on an eBay hunt. That's what I'm going to be doing till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then wondering why I'm tired. So I saw that it seemed that, so they were kind of trickling along. There were a few designs, and they were just, not really doing a whole lot. But it seemed that they began to rise a lot in popularity in the 80s, and there seemed to be like a lot of like key players. Now, some of you who may have been around in that time may be more familiar with some of these brands. Can't say that I am, but I think they're probably US brands. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have had them here, but we've got Lee. Lee seems to be the one that kept popping up. Lee nails,
Yeah.
now nails, crazy nails. But yeah, they were literally just one color, like no designs at all, weird shape. Yeah, just
And do you know what I've noticed is that leaning into nails and the way that it first started, it was invented essentially by men, and it is that male gaze of like what they
always.
think that women would like that really long, elegant, plain nail. But actually, when women started taking on that space, we were like, no, we want
Mm,
bling, we want designs, we want all of this breadth. So as soon as women have started to come back, not
mhm.
saying that like nails can't be for everyone, but you know
Of
what I
course,
mean, like the
absolutely.
vintage businessman who is kind of like
Mhm.
saying what the women's standard should be. You know, it's interesting that when women have come into that space and said, we want to make these a bespoke press on nail, that
Mm,
is when design and color and shape actually changed it.
yeah, and also one of the interesting things is that those all of those examples that I was able to find were basically all the same shape, probably because they would have been made in the same mold, the same factories, but they
Yeah.
were all just long round. Now that is not a wearable length for most people, especially not back then when most women would have just been housewives.
Housewives,
Like if
exactly.
you
Like with 5 kids.
literally, who's wearing, like, it's hard enough to wear short nails when like you've got kids in nappies, like
Yeah.
doing the
And
dishes.
did you see the little adhesive tabs that it came with? They
Yes.
were paper thin. It was literally just like double-sided, the thinnest tape you have ever seen in your life.
Mm,
Like you could see through it.
yeah, yeah, it was nuts. And I think, like, again, that would have been because that's what men wanted the women to wear, but that definitely
Yeah,
ain't going to be what
exactly.
would have been practical for them. So that's
No.
just, yeah, really interesting.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and I think now people are, there's so much more of a cry for short nails. You know, so much more.
Absolutely. And comfort is key because we've got to be practical.
Absolutely. So then it looked like in the 90s is maybe when the more of the nail art started to trickle into the press-ons. And
Yeah.
when we're talking about press-ons, we're literally talking about factory-made press-on nails. I don't
Yeah.
really imagine that there was any like people really painting nails and sending them out
No.
to people, because how would you have ever marketed it back then? Like, it just
No.
no. But yeah, I mean that makes sense because obviously in the 90s that there was so much more in terms of nail art anyway, so it would make sense for that to have kind of like trickled across to designs on press-on nails.
But then in the 90s, it started that press on nails, well, stick on nails, started to become a children's
Yeah,
toy.
yeah,
So you notice that all of a sudden, like those stick on nails weren't used by adult women anymore. It
because they
was
probably never ever were.
exactly because there weren't the right tools to actually prep your nails at home and to actually adhere
Hmm.
them. And it just became like a sort of a little Christmas gift or,
Yeah,
you know, free in a magazine. So it became a very much like youthful, not taken seriously product
and
in the
that
beauty
makes
world.
so much sense, doesn't it? Like,
And I think that ties in of why we've had to fight for so much respect back.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, who would have thought we'd have had that little deep dive? It's very
Exactly, I
clear though,
know.
like, you know, yeah, I think they were just novelty products, and they have
Yeah.
I think in the up until the pandemic, they remained a novelty product
They
in
did.
terms of big business because it would
Yeah.
just be like £1 packs of nails that you can get in Primark. They wouldn't be made to be something that you would wear longer than an evening anyway. And even then, you wouldn't have high hopes of them lasting because they were just, you know, they weren't supplying you with information for you to prep your nail properly to make them last. Crappy
Exactly.
glue,
Yeah.
style, like shapes, fits, like none of it was made for people to have that longevity. So I think that, yeah,
100%.
it all makes so much sense now.
We've now had to really market it to convince new customers and younger
Yeah,
customers how to make them work.
it's hard to explain to people that are just starting out now what it used to be like,
Mm,
because
it's crazy.
it's crazy. Like there was literally probably, I mean, when you started, obviously there were even fewer. But I know when I started, there was probably maybe 5 shapes, like genuinely 5 shapes. And I know that's so much more than you ever had to begin with.
But
like,
also very rare that they were clear. They were
yeah.
always that like murky, yellowy, white.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible. If you wanted to make like a nice French tip, you could not do it.
No. And a lot of them were like really flat.
Yeah, there was no
So,
apex
like,
at all.
yeah, no apex, wouldn't actually fit to a person's nail anyway. There just wasn't the market. Like, full cover tips were so far and few and far between. You know, when you were talking nail tips, generally you just meant literally the tips that you apply to the end of a person's nail before applying acrylic, or I mean, even back then polygel didn't even exist. I mean, it's such a different world.
No.
So yeah, I mean, just in our time, we've had changes from lengths and shapes, but also you know, the actual materials are completely different. Like I think
soft gel tips now,
yeah,
and you know, like Après have completely changed the game. But obviously the way that it was intended to be used was an entire system.
yeah.
Whereas most of Apré's customer base is actually press-on nail artists still.
Seems like it. Yeah, definitely does
Yeah.
seem like it. And it's probably worth noting now for anyone who's not aware of the differences in nail tips, there is no such thing as a gel tip. Nothing is
No.
made of hardened gel. It was clever marketing on Apré's part to call something a soft gel, call it Gel X, you know, and it's just taken off since because they were the first to do it big. I'm pretty sure they weren't the first to do that system, but they were the first to make it as big as they did. And as a result, other people then kind of have jumped on this term of soft gel. Now, the material that is used in soft gel tips is just a form of plastic. Just like the traditional like ABS plastic, which is the kind that if you have a nail tip and you squeeze it, it will have a big white line down the middle, or it might even just split entirely. And it will never go back to its normal shape. But now I can't remember the actual material that is used in this soft gel. It's just plastic though, but it's just a different kind of composition of plastic. So I think, I mean, it's very, very clever marketing, because in your head as a consumer, or as a nail tech, you're thinking, wow, like literally this is like poured out gel polish into a mold, and like that just means that person is literally getting a fully formed gel like extension. Well, yes, in a way, because everything, like all acrylics, all gels are made of plastic. Liquid gel is a form of plastic. So yeah, in a way, but no, we are just literally paying crazy money for a piece of plastic because they have made it so that people feel like they're getting something crazy good.
That's premium.
It's really crappy. They've got us right where they want us. And now all the other brands, like, because literally, Chelsea, can you remember the tips that we used to use? You'd get a bag for $4.99 for a pack of 600 tips.
I know.
The profits we used to make. Like,
it was insane.
Oh my Lord.
Like swapping though to just Après tips I'm so proud of now packaging the nails. Because they look nice. I remember just using those tips and packaging them. And at the time, I guess I didn't really notice. But now when I look back on old nail photos, I'm like, oh my God.
They look so clunky.
Like sheets of cardboard. And also, I would leave sometimes that little dangly like tip, like the bit of plastic off the edge. Like, no, file it off.
Oh my God, pet peeve.
Yeah, such a bugbear.
But yeah, I mean, you know, we're not going to be slagging off brands loads on this podcast, but we have things to say about Après. Maybe not today, but they are, Most of us seem to use them, like, because they have such incredible like shapes and lengths, and like the quality is there. You just can't deny it. But they're so overpriced. The company does not give a single shit about press-on artists. Like, they have literally supposedly vocalized to like staff, like, because there's been some like upheaval in their staffing in the last year. So ex members of staff have actually said that they were told not to basically go near press-on artists. Yet we must remember that when Après first started, they were heavily aligning with press-on artists, constantly resharing our work, and because we used to have the bigger following, and then they just decided to drop us because they got bigger. They started going into like the luxury market. They started getting in with the celebrities, and then they deemed press-on artists below them, I guess. I mean, of course, we understand that like their main goal is to sell a full cover system and to use it as such. I mean, it's a pain. We're hoping that things will change. I mean, there are other like decent suppliers. So you've got the Painted Desert who do really good nail tips.
And they focus on shorter lengths as well, which again is just something that just wasn't available at all. And they're like pre-buffed, which takes away a huge step.
And the owner is lovely, Casey. She's approachable. Like, this is a good thing when you shop with a small business, as we know, as small business owners. You get to have that kind of like connection, actually get to speak to them and ask questions, and that, I don't know, there's a genuine reason behind why they're doing something. But when you get to big business, it's kind of like they're doing it for profits, and that becomes clearer with every move that they make.
And I feel like, especially for the press-on nail industry, you want a brand, especially when the tips is the most important part, because that is just the foundation for it all. You want a brand who's going to listen to what you need. Like, what do we need as press-on nail artists who are painting? We do more sets than someone in a salon.
Easily.
We can make, like, if you're doing plain sets, you can make 2 or 3 an hour. You can't really do that in a salon. So we are painting more than anybody else in the nail industry. So we are using these materials for hours and hours and hours a day. So we know exactly what we need, and we need business owners who actually want to hear feedback and go back to their factories and work on different formulas and actually listen.
And make shapes. I mean, I know Casey has worked closely to get specific shapes, made for her, because also, there are so many like brands that are just selling the same thing. And I don't know, that might be something that people don't necessarily know when they're first entering this field. Like, the amount of times people will be asking for recommendations and someone will suggest, a brand that's like, obviously never heard of, because it's just a white label brand. They're all selling the same tips because they come from the same factories, and that's fine. Just don't get ripped off by it. Like, make sure that you shop around and get the best price, because if you're just buying like something quite simple, don't get conned, basically. And if you can, try and still get the tips that they do call gel tips, because there is a big difference. Like, although it's all just plastic, there is a difference between gel tips, as they call it, and ABS. Gel tips have more flexibility, which makes them better for press on nails, because like, people are going to be wearing them, they're going to be hands-on, they're going to be touching things, and you need that tip to have an element of flexibility to like absorb impacts, so they don't just pop off.
What do you think, and what's your opinion on press-on nail artists who start selling acrylic press-on nails?
Acrylic over press-on? No. Just,
you can't do it. Like, it looks nice, and it really does, but when they are press-on nails, you need that flexibility. Like, it's too hard.
Well, I get it, like, and don't get me wrong, there are definitely artists who only use acrylic, and they've obviously figured out that there's like changes in sizing, and their customers are fine with, realistically, it's generally the only like the long XXL, like extendo kind of nails that tend to be acrylic, aren't they? So probably the people that wear them are going to be used to that. They're going to be careful. If we started wearing them, we'd be like, game over. I mean, not with our stubby fingers.
I know.
It ain't happening. It's just, if you're just like, I don't know, making short to medium length nails, and you're thinking, can I apply acrylic over it? I really, really would advise against it, because it makes that nail so tough. Just the same as like using hard gels, like it makes there's just no flex at all. And like I don't know if you've ever, well, I know you said that you've not been able to get a manicure before at a salon, but I don't know if ever in your life you've ever had any acrylics. But
I've had one set.
And did it hurt?
It pinches a
Yes,
lot.
yeah. Like that bruised feeling is what's going to happen when an enhancement that you're wearing isn't a natural fit to you. Either that it's been like, if a press on wearer is wearing a size that's too small, that natural nail underneath is being forced into a position that is just so not how it's meant to be.
I guess if they have applied acrylic to a larger nail, it could work. But I just feel like there is not a need to use acrylic on it. Do you know what I mean?
No. Because I think some customers, it doesn't happen for me anymore. It used to happen that people would be like, can I get acrylic with it? Can I pay for an acrylic overlay? I'm like, I ain't touching that. I haven't not got the time or patience for acrylic. And it would cost so much more. And yeah, it's a no all round. But I haven't had one of those kind of inquiries for years. I think because everything's come on so far that,
and gels are just such good quality now.
Exactly, there's no need for it, but there will always be like some people who are adamant they need acrylic on their sets. And I think, if that's your market, that's cool. You've probably got quite a niche clientele, and you presumably know what you're doing, and that's fine. But
exactly,
if you don't and you're just like, should I do acrylic? Like, I wouldn't, because it's just
no. Unless that's what I mean, unless you are so specialized in that area.
Yeah, unless you are literally a nail tech who does acrylic all the time and you can just bash them out, like, but also it affects the sizing, or it feels like it affects the sizing, doesn't it? And it's like,
this is specifically just, if you are a beginner, just don't think that you need acrylic. Just stick to gel products. That is 100%. All you need.
Yeah. Right, Chelsea, where do you think press-on nails will be in 5 years' time? I mean, like custom-made press-on nails, not mass-produced. Where will our industry be?
Oh my goodness. I feel that the materials may just keep getting better and better. I think there'll be different sizes and shapes. And I feel like the quality is just going to keep obviously improving year on year. But I feel like it will always come back to the basics of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that might be a really boring answer, but I feel like even the 10 years we've been doing it, the materials have improved, but the process has always stayed the same.
There's been like little tweaks that have made our lives easier and the customer's experience better. But at the end of the day, it's one person painting, like that. That's the core of it, isn't it? Like, we're handmade businesses. There's only so much you can do when it's your own hands doing it. Otherwise it's mass produced.
The only thing I think may start to be implemented, and it's definitely even something that I really want to start doing, is to actually retail my press-ons in my studio and then offer that as a service, so that if you don't have the time to come in and have your nails done, I can actually professionally prep your nails and apply them to make sure that they will last the 3 to 4 weeks, but you don't have to be in here for 3 or 4 hours. So I feel like that's maybe a service that nail techs will start to,
that's actually
in their salon.
It's something in loads of my one-to-ones with nail techs. In fact, that's one of the things I'll be covering in the nail order event, which is obviously going to be mainly nail techs. Like, that's such an obvious route to go down, because you're saving time. Well, the client's saving time. They're still going to be paying the same. They might even be paying a bit more because they're paying for your time still, regardless of how it is. But you get to fit it in around your time, and they don't have to be sat at the table for so long. They can have amazing nail art in half an hour because you've done all the work beforehand. And there's so many ways into it. But
and
really
also,
interesting.
like, you could, as a nail tech, if they see firsthand you professionally prepping their nails, and you can even advise them, look, use a dehydrator, use a primer, use a really good nail glue, and let's just see how long these last on you. That can completely convert them to just press on nails.
Absolutely.
And it's going to cut all of your service times literally like not even in half, by 5 times.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to fit in so many more clients, and you're just gonna be able to do different styles. You can even then buy in, you know, and support other nail artists of styles that you can't even do yourself. You know, maybe your niche is decals or crystals or whatever, but you really like another, you know, nail artist who does cartoons and 3D work.
Yeah.
You can buy their nails and have them stocked in your salon and say, look, you can get nails done by this person and they're really famous on Instagram. Like, what an amazing selling point is that?
Like literally having like almost like a catalogue of artists.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're trademarking this.
Yeah, I think we need to. But then that's amazing for us press-on nail artists, because we can pitch ourselves to nail salons and be like, you need us stocked in your salons.
Yeah, because like ultimately it's faster generally for you to paint on a press on than it would be to do that on someone's nails, because you're not doing the foundations. Like, you know, that shape is already there, it's perfect, and you have more flexibility. But also the fact, you know, the artists can create them in their own time, to their own schedule. So yeah, although the customer may not be saving loads of money, they're saving time, which nowadays is more important than ever. Like, literally is. Like, so many more people would be open to getting like crazy nail designs if they know they're only going to be sat in the chair for the time that it takes to prep and apply some nails, but they might not have the confidence to do it themselves to begin with. And I think, you know, this is something we've briefly touched on, like, you know, in our own chats, is that, you know, we hope that there's more progression in terms of the adhesives that we have available for this kind of thing, because
100%.
That's something lacking. You know, we want an adhesive that is easy to remove but stays on where you want,
and it's safe.
Yeah, because, you know, you can so easily damage your nails when you're taking them off with glue. And that's something that we have to bear in mind, because we have that responsibility as like press on artists and business owners. It's like, you know, even the safest products in the wrong hands are going to cause damage.
It's definitely going in the right direction, and we should always be grateful that, I mean, when we've just spoke about like the history of press-ons, the fact it has come on that quickly, like it has been stagnant for decades. We've literally gone from the 50s to the 80s, 30 years, nothing really happened. And then it got turned into a children's product. It just lost all of its momentum and was seen as just a childish thing. And then essentially it stayed like that for 20 more years, until, you know, we came along and like thought about something that we need for ourselves. And now look at how it's blown up just in the last 10 years. And then just in the last, from lockdown, it is crazy. So we do need to be, you know, appreciative that it has come on so rapidly. But at the same time, it's like, well, we do need these products like quick, because I feel like the science has to kind of like move with the trends now, and it is lacking and is behind.
It really is. But I think it's you know, that can give us a bit of hope, can't it, that there's been so much progression just in the last 10 years. And it's like, well, you know, if that's a lesson to anyone listening, that, you know, maybe you're just entering this world and you're feeling like, oh, well, I don't really know where my place is in it. Well, the industry is changing so much. Like, you don't know where your place is going to be. You could end up having such a pivotal role in something that doesn't even exist yet. Like, it's never.
Absolutely.
You know, if it's something you're interested in, just start doing it. Like, there's no point wasting time, and you'll learn and you'll grow and you'll see the changes happen. You could still be part of something that's going to keep on growing, because I mean, I can't remember the statistic about nails, but like the projected growth over like the next 10 years is crazy. Like, we already feel like, how could there be more nails in the world? Like, it's constant, but like, it just is. It's just huge. And like, what better thing than to be part of something that is in that evolutionary stage? Like, and you know, if we're the ones that are like, we need this product, or you know, this is what our clients need, like, we've got to be the voices to actually start like demanding those kinds of changes in products. So
absolutely, hopefully with all these advancements in products and tips, especially, that the price comes down.
Yeah.
I really hope the premium price tag, because we all know it is worth pennies to manufacture. So we are all being massively conned.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. But I just hope that because it will hopefully become the norm, that people will start kind of competing with prices a little bit more, just to make our lives easier and more accessible. Because how hard is it now for people to come into this industry? It's already so high quality, but it's so elitist.
It was so different, you know,
And
like the £5 packs of tips that we used to be able to get versus £40 now. Huge difference. Like, it was accessible before, and now it's like
it's not inclusive, and it's really, and it does really like make me so sad, because I know there are so many talented artists that are from like poorer backgrounds who are missing out and not being given like the right materials and tools to just progress. So I feel like there needs to be, if someone is going to dupe Gel-X, then they need to stop going in with the same price tag. You know, like when there are loads of brands who come out and copy Chanel, they copy Dior, but they come in at like a huge markdown. And so it's okay, because then we can all buy into this designer lifestyle if we can't afford it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that all of these white label copycat products that we all, you know, we all want them, they're still, you're not saving much money. And I just feel like if you are going to dupe that product, you need to make it accessible again. You need to do it at £5. £5 is crazy cheap. But guess what? It's only costing them 10 pence to make. Like, let's be honest. Like, these markups of prices, people are being scammed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will all pay it. We will, because that's just what we do. We don't have any other option. But they're just, we need to have a bit more competition now, because it's like everyone's going in with the same price tag because they think that that's the industry standard. And it doesn't need to be. Like, just because you can charge that much doesn't mean that you always should. And you need to start including people who just need a helping hand, because they could be the best new generation of artists that we've ever seen, but they can't afford it.
Yeah. So last episode, I gave you a response to a question that I'd asked on stories, which was, what's the most outrageous customer request that you've had? There were quite a few, so
I'm ready for another.
One, it's not funny because it's something we've actually all experienced, and it's going to be a talking point definitely down the line. But free nails, which I have no doubt is a request most press-on artists have received. Yes.
One that will always live rent-free in my mind is one girl, and bless her, she was only a teenager, but she said, "It's my birthday, can I have free nails?" And I was like, "No, I'm really sorry, happy birthday, but bear in mind, I've never spoke to her before." And she literally said, "Why not?" I was like, this is my business. But I was like, "Well, it was my birthday last month. Can I have like £1 million? Like, how is this gonna go?"
Oh, there's that whole like, well, it's worth a try. But read the room. Like, if you're approaching, you should do the research about a brand before you approach them, and then you'll find out almost always that these businesses are one-person businesses, and you can't be asking for freebies. Like, that's just not. Like, we've all got bills to pay.
Yeah, and especially when it's like a copy and pasted message. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, hey, I really like your nails and your lashes," and I'm like, "I've never done lashes."
And it's like, and every single time they're never following you ever.
No,
ever.
Or they'll even say like, "Oh, I'll make some videos in return for you," or whatever, and you go on their page and it's like they've got 10 followers and most of them are just like their aunties. It's like, this is not the kind of marketing I need.
Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today. I hope people learned a little bit. I think we did. Like, I feel even more like I want to go on a feminist rant, but I'm not gonna. But
I know, it's so hard. I feel like the thing that we're going to struggle with all of these podcasts is obviously because Jerri and I are friends, so we just kind of go off on tangents and we like having a conversation. But a podcast format is always going to be chatty. So we hope that, you know, you've maybe been making some press on nail orders.
Yeah.
How many did you get done while you were listening to this episode? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, let's start doing polls. Like, we want to know, like, how many sets you can do in one of our chats.
Oh my God. Yeah. And make it a competition.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go into a big spiel about the press on portal, but I will say, if anyone is interested in some help, if you're looking to start a press on nail business, if you already are a press on nail artist and you're kind of like, I don't know, maybe feeling a bit lost and that you could do a bit of extra support, this is where I come in. Hello. I have my press on portal, which is a membership site where you can access loads of resources like weekly nail art tutorials geared towards press on artists, masterclasses that are all about the business side of things, like how to set up your website, how to use email marketing efficiently, just all the bits that go on behind the scenes to actually help your business to start and to grow and to sustain. The press on portal offers a 3-day free membership, so if you wanted to go and check it out, there's no obligation to stay on. You might find exactly what you're looking for though, and you know, you get first-hand experience from me and from loads of other incredible artists in the field. So that's pressonportal.com. It's been lovely talking to you again, Chelsea.
It has. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully we've not been too controversial, but
no, this ain't nothing.
Exactly. I know. Stick around.
Yeah. Also, if anyone wants to do a jingle for us, go for it.
Oh my God. Yes, we need a good song. We need a good jingle. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Please join us on the next episode. We have so much lined up. Very, very exciting topics to talk about. Get signed up to the Press On portal.
Follow us on our Instagrams.
Yes, please. All the socials. All the socials.
They'll probably be linked somewhere. We'll figure it out. This is all new. Be kind.
Yeah, it's very, very new. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.